The name of this video is misleading because there are no special yoga poses for weight loss. What we have are principles and best practices that, if applied to yoga poses, will make them much more effective for losing weight. Hey, my name's Nick. Today we're going to talk about what yoga poses are good for weight loss. Now, if you're just here for the poses, you can go straight to the end of the video for my recommendations, but I hope you'll stick around and hear why the name of this video is misleading, because there are no special yoga poses for weight loss. What we have are principles and best practices that, if applied to yoga poses, will make them much more effective for losing weight. So, we're going to cover 3 key things that your yoga practice needs to do in order to be meaningful for weight loss. And at the end of this video, I'll make some recommendations for where to get started. But before we jump into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. Ask any questions. All right, the first key practice. Dynamic movements using multiple muscle groups burn more calories and build muscle more effectively than static poses. So, anytime we can take a pose and turn it into a compound movement, we're engaging in a practice that is much more effective for weight loss. Luckily, many, if not most, beginner yoga poses can easily be adapted into movements. That's the first key takeaway. Once you know how to do a pose, instead of just holding the pose longer, start to explore slow, controlled movements, focusing on the breath and maintaining good alignment. Number 2, yoga poses, to be effective for weight loss, yoga poses need to work the muscles until they are near exhaustion. One of the goals of exercise for weight loss, yoga poses included, one of the goals is to create and preserve muscle mass. This is important because while following a weight loss program, the body will try to eat its muscle tissue for energy. Working the muscles goes a long way to preventing that. What does that mean for yoga poses? Repetition, repetition, and again, more repetition. In addition to making static poses more dynamic, practicing yoga poses with weight loss in mind means doing them again and again and again. How many times? Well, until the muscles are tired and you can only do 1 or 2 more. So if the movement is very difficult and challenging, it might only be 5 or 6 times. But if we modify the movement to be easier, maybe up to 10 or 12, the best evidence we have suggests that to create and preserve muscle, anywhere between 6 to 30 repetitions of movement is best. My recommendation is finding variations of dynamic compound movements that are challenging enough that you can complete only about 10 at a time. And the last principle of weight loss has to do with applying yoga poses to cardiovascular endurance training. During a weight loss program, light to moderate cardiovascular training is the driving force of creating a caloric deficit, of burning more calories than we're consuming. In terms of straight calories burned, an hour of yoga burns about as many calories as an hour of brisk walking, but it's a lot more fatiguing. Yoga is more fatiguing. You'll probably feel a lot more tired after an hour of yoga than after an hour of walking or light biking or rowing, etc. But, you know, when we get right down to it and look at it, most of the cardio exercises are just light yoga poses repeated again and again and again and again. So walking or jogging, well, that's not much different than a lunge. Cycling, we see something like that with mountain climbers bringing the knee to the shoulder, and rowing is, well, rowing is rowing. So what's the point here? To make yoga poses more effective for weight loss, to really optimize some of the poses, you'll have to practice with an expression of cardiovascular activity. Nothing intense, low fatigue, light to moderate activity, but cardio nonetheless. Find a practice you like, find the yoga pose inside of it. When you go for a walk or for a bike ride, think about the movement and the breath in the same way that you would a yoga class. And let that repetition of the pose be like a mantra you chant with your body. So, to recap, doing yoga poses for weight loss means transforming static poses into dynamic movements and repeating those movements at an intensity that will exhaust the muscles. In addition to practicing poses to build and preserve muscle tissue, it behooves us to include light cardio yoga poses to contribute to the caloric deficit. Okay, so those are the principles of weight loss applied to yoga poses. Now that we have an idea of what we're going for, I'm going to give some recommendations, like I promised. Number one, if you are very new to fitness, new to yoga, new to weight loss, if you're facing some additional challenges like mobility or muscle pain, start with chair yoga. I'll put the links here and in the description. This sequence is very good for learning body awareness, breathing techniques, balance, core, all of the things you need to lay a strong foundation. But to be clear, a lot of your early success is going to be driven by that light to moderate cardiovascular yoga, walking, biking, rowing, whatever works best for you. Number two, my next recommendation is for people who already have some kind of familiarity with yoga, or maybe they have some other activity they like to do, but they want to start shifting their focus to weight loss specifically. If that's the case, either of these series would be a good place to start. There is a lot of emphasis on exploring dynamic compound movements. And number three, my last recommendation, if you are already following a weight loss program and are interested in supplementing that with a yoga practice, you might check out this series on active recovery. These easy stretching and mobilization drills are really good for the days in between more intense exercise and can really help maintain the consistency and momentum of your routine. And as a final note, I want to point out that exercise and yoga poses are just one element of a weight loss program. Weight loss isn't going to happen if the nutrition isn't there. If you want a step-by-step guide to setting up a mindful weight loss program, find the link in the comments. It's free. I hope all of this was helpful in understanding how to make yoga poses effective for weight loss. If you found it useful, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment below. All right, until next time.